Welcome to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken. Shep will talk with some of the smartest thinkers in business to help make you more successful in your professional and personal life. This is Amazing Business Radio with Shep Hyken.
Hello, everybody. It's Shep Hyken. We are back with another episode of Amazing Business Radio. I have an interesting guest today, Stephen Kowal, who is the Chief Commercial Officer of a company called Nextivity. Now, what does Nextivity do? It actually does something that is very important to the customer experience. However, I did a little research to understand what they did, and I realized we don't even know they exist because it's playing in the background. It's hiding behind things. And essentially, it boosts cellular signals and Wi-Fi signals inside buildings, either commercial buildings or retail types of buildings and stores. And you're wondering, why is that important? Well, you're going to find out in just a moment. So I hope you stay tuned for this amazing interview. But before we do that, quick announcement, if you've got an amazing story that you want to share or you have a question that you'd like me to answer, please reach out to me on any of the social channels. I am pretty much everywhere. Make sure if it is a question, you use the hashtag #AskShep, and I will answer that question right there on this show in my newsletter, the Shepherd Letter, or maybe on my TV show, Be Amazing or Go Home. And episodes can be found on Apple TV, Amazon Prime, or just go to beamazing.tv. That is beamazing.tv. All right, let's jump into our interview today. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Shep. It's good to be here with you.
Well, I'm excited. We get to talk about your company and how it applies to the customer experience. And specifically, your company is really focused on creating a better internet and Wi-Fi experience. And so let's first start off by you giving us a quick little background, like the elevator pitch on Nextivity, and then we'll get into how it supports the customer experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So here at Nextivity, our number one goal is bringing cellular connectivity inside of buildings, giving that that seamless experience from working on the outdoor network to the indoor network. That's the primary part of our business. And secondarily, we also bring into the buildings coverage for public safety. So if you think about the radios that first responders use, it's real important that those work inside of buildings. We're there to help ensure that those signals get in there. So if you just think of us as a coverage solution inside of buildings, whether it be public networking, private networking, or public safety, we're the ones that you should come to.
Right. So last year, I'm in our office building, and it's early in the morning. It's like 5:30 in the morning. I'm going in before I go to work out, and I get in the elevator, and it gets stuck. And I pull out my cell phone. Guess what? No signal.
Yeah.
I'm going, really? And I go to push the alarm button when nobody's in there. And worse, I go to pick up the phone. There's an emergency phone, like push this button or whatever. Nothing.
Yeah. It's amazing how much we take it for granted, right? And, we have a saying here that public safety starts with the cellular phone. You got to be able to reach out and ask for help, whether it's 911 or the building manager for that. And when you think about that elevator, it's a big concrete cast area. It's like a vault that, it's stopping RF signals from coming in. We're building buildings that way too. If you think about it, Shep, the building that you were probably in had lowy glass, right? And that's made to stop heat from radiating into it. It also stops RF signals from radiating into it, right? So it's getting harder and harder to have coverage, and we're becoming more and more dependent on it. And, when you talk about your customer experience, They don't want to log into networks and Wi-Fi networks. They just want their cell phone to work. And, I won't stay at a hotel again if I get there and realize there's no cellular connectivity. I'll pick another hotel next time. It's like the silent killer for the hospitality network. And so there's, it's everywhere for the customer experience. You need to have cellular connectivity.
But isn't part of that, and I know you're in San Diego, which is where your company is based, even though you live in Montana. But I go to San Diego and my signal is not strong because of the carrier presence. Now, that may have changed since the last time I was there, but that was frustration. That has nothing to do. You can't boost that signal, I don't think, can you?
Yeah, so 1,000 times 0 is 0, right? So you got to have something to boost. But what I will tell you is like your phone is a limited wattage product because you got to put it next to your ear, right? So they're not going to give you this big, powerful device that you put next to your head. But what we do have is we have these antennas that we put up on roofs, and you may have been walking down, or you may be on the first floor in the basement of a building, and our antenna is up high, and it can reach out and grab that signal further away. So we're not going to get into all these dBMs and things like that, but we have a 16 dBm antenna, and it can reach out and grab the signal. We just need a small signal to be able to condition it, boost it, and retransmit it. And so your phone's not able to do that, but our devices are bigger and stronger because they're made to support the building. So we have a better chance of grabbing that signal than your phone did, and giving you that better experience inside the building.
Well, I want to get into how this really impacts the customer experience in a moment. I have a question. I know you've got solutions for small buildings, 1,000 square feet up to 600,000 square feet, huge, massive buildings. Do you have anything residential?
Yeah. So, when during the pandemic, a lot of people went home, right? And, we didn't put a bunch more telephone lines into their house, and people perhaps weren't always satisfied with the connectivity over Wi-Fi. So we do have some of our smaller, it's called our Go family line that will do these smaller areas. And, it's the same exact technology. We kind of just put an antenna up top, we bring it in, we have a smaller booster, and we amplify it inside of the house. So, we call that enterprise grade cellular for your home. There are some, boosters and things that are on Amazon, and, honestly, they don't work great, right? And, you got to be right next to the booster. You can't just be walking around your house. Our solutions are intelligent, and we bring that enterprise grade, connectivity inside of your home. And,
you need to be able to put an antenna on top of your roof.
You do. Remember, so what we do is we're called an off-air signal company. And so what happens is the carriers have invested billions of dollars in the outdoor network. And usually it's just because where your home is, it may sit a little bit in a valley, or maybe behind some other structures, or you may have built it really well and the signals just aren't penetrating into it. So we go up and we just grab a little bit of signal outside and we retransmit it inside. And you would know most of the time, the best example of this is, you're outside of a building, you're on the phone just fine, and you walk into the building and your signal drops.
Right.
The outdoor signal was fine, the indoor signal is bad. Perhaps you go outside your house and you have 1 bar. But with our system, you would come inside the house and have 5 bars because we were able to get a little bit of signal and make it much bigger.
Wow.
Right?
I live in an apartment building, so I don't think they'll let me stick an antenna on top, but I could stick it on my balcony.
I will tell you what a lot of apartment buildings do, and if you belong to, you should send this to me as a lead. We would tend to go to that apartment building. We'd put 1 antenna on top, and we'd put 1 repeater on each floor so that everybody gets the cellular connectivity inside of it. We do a lot of multi-dwelling units, and I think it's interesting you bring that one up because that's your customer experience, right? Inside of the apartment, right? You would think about that. If you actually move to maybe the other side of the building, you may have a better experience because the antenna, the macro tower's on the other side. Maybe you're on the blind side of the building. We think more of the commercial real estate, apartments, MDUs, they're all going to have to start thinking about this because they'll begin to say, I don't want to live here because I don't have good native cellular connectivity.
Yep. Interesting. And I can see people in an apartment building or condo association going, well, that's not my problem. Switch carriers, get a better phone, but that doesn't always work. All right, let's jump into customer service and experience for a few minutes, and we'll take a break and come back and talk about more about the importance of being able to connect either on, imagine I'm walking in, and this is really more today than just even 2 or 3 years ago. I'm walking through a store and the store is able to communicate with me on my cell phone if I want it to. And frankly, I'm the guy that likes that kind of personalization. So I'm walking by an item that I typically buy. There's an alert on my cell phone. It says, hey, you should know that we've got a special for you. You bought this before. Buy that product today and save 10%, whatever. If I don't have a good signal, it doesn't matter how good that promotion is. You're there to help make that happen.
That's right. So I'll tell you, I'll give you a great example of this and what they're doing today. First of all, every store, or I shouldn't say every, most retailers today, they want you to have their in-store app or their loyalty app, right? Like that everywhere we go, there's an application. You can't go to McDonald's today without them you're going to order on the app, right? And this became really big, as people stayed home a little bit more, they really still want to have this connectivity with their customers. So they really pitch these loyalty applications. And, my favorite scenario of this is, 5 years ago, you went to your local home improvement store, and there was a plumber on the plumbing aisle, and there was, an electrician on the electrical aisle. Now you go in and you're sometimes lucky to find somebody to help you. So the first thing I do when I go into my local home improvement store is I open up the application and I say, hey, where is fertilizer? And then it'll tell me it's on aisle 18. Well, now they know from my purchasing history that I have also bought something else on aisle 18. Maybe it was last time I was there, I bought a rake, or I bought the bags for the leaves, right? So on my way over there, it's going to give me this, like you say, this, hey, guess what? You can have 10% off if you buy these bags. That's a great experience for me because I'm like you. They know what I bought. They know what I like. I may have been forgetting it, and I like to save money, right? Well, they give you a QR code is what they give you to go up to the register and scan. If you don't have cellular connectivity, that QR code doesn't work, right? You can't do that. And so, that's a big deal. And also, it's not just that what I'll say is predictive or algorithm type selling. It's what the retailers have noticed. They used to be afraid of online sales, right? They were afraid that if you had access to your telephone, you may see that it's cheaper somewhere else. But what they've actually found is if you can validate your purchase while in store, we want instant gratification. So we want to leave with the product. So sometimes we're willing to pay more for the product to pick it up that day. We just want some validation that it's not so much cheaper online. And so the big box retailers now are, more than ever making sure that cell phones work inside their building. And I was a recent victim of this. I will tell you, I hate being a statistics, and I had to go buy a new TV, and I chose to go to Costco because they had this great deal on a TV for $999. And I don't know, Shep, if you bought a TV recently, but when you go in, I had to learn what OLED was, ILED, refresh rates, 4K, 5K, 8K, all this stuff. I went to buy a $999 TV. I did all my research. I came out with a $1,400 TV, right? But if I couldn't do the research, I would have just bought the $999 TV, yes, what I went to get. But I could get on my phone, and I looked and I did it. Now think about this. What if the Costco employee walked up to me and said, hey, can I help you? What do we always say? No, I'm just looking, right? We're not going to let them sell us, but we can sell ourselves. We're great at selling ourselves. And so that to me that was a great customer experience that ended up costing me $500.
Well, it didn't really cost. You invested into a better TV. I bet you're happy.
I got what actually fit my thing, because you said I live in Montana, and I figured out some things. I got windows on both sides, so I need a super black TV because the room's bright. So I need super black. I want to hang it on the wall, so I wanted a thinner television, and I researched the LEDs. I got 4K because YouTube TV doesn't support 5K. What was the other one I decided? And I wanted to have a Google TV to interact with my entire home system that I have, right? So I got exactly what fit my needs, but I couldn't have done that without connectivity. So I thought it was a wonderful customer experience for myself.
Right. I think that's great. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to break down that experience even more, because I think that is an example of what all companies need to be thinking about. It's not just about the technology. It's about the convenience. It's about the access to information. Obviously, Nextivity has a piece of hardware or antenna or a booster that makes this easy and accessible for everyone, regardless of how strong or not strong the cell signal is. And it's amazing. I'm learning all of the time, and I'm learning today that there are technologies out there that I haven't even thought about that impact the customer experience. And this is one of them. So thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to come right back after the short break. We're talking with Stephen Kowal, who is the Chief Commercial Officer at Nextivity. We'll be right back. One of my favorite sayings is that customer service isn't a department. It's a philosophy. And it's a philosophy that must be embraced by everyone in the organization all the time, and that's 24/7. So if customer service is important to you, and I know it is, then you will love our virtual training, the ultimate on-demand customer service and experience training program that you can access anytime, anywhere. Now, the course content applies to everyone, regardless of position and responsibility, from senior executives to the most recently hired and everyone in between. You'll discover tips, ideas, and strategies that won't cost your company a fortune, but will produce what I call moments of magic, those positive experiences, and it will happen at every level of your organization. So go to Customer Service VT. That's V as in virtual, T as in training. That's customerservicevt.com. It's time to get customer focused.
You're listening to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken.
We're back on Amazing Business Radio. We are talking with Stephen Kowal, the Chief Commercial Officer at Nextivity, based in San Diego, although he lives in Montana. I think he gets the best of both worlds, except in the wintertime. I can't imagine being in Montana, unless you're into skiing all the time. But no, he's working. He's the COO. All right. So we're talking about the experience we have in organizations where the app or the technology is helping to make that happen. This is almost seamless. This is behind the scenes. We don't know it's happening. So how do we educate the business world about the importance of this? Because I've experienced the problem without connectivity.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you got to look at it from both sides of the scenario, right? The customer experience, and then also what does it bring to perhaps the retailer itself? And I'll give you a few examples of what I mean by that. The customer themselves, they will become aware of the absence of the technology, right? You just expect your phone to work, right?
Yes.
And so when the absence of it is there, there's perhaps irritation about it. But when it is there, there's not an appreciation of it because you expect it to be there. On the retailer side, sometimes we forget all of the things that they need to do inside of their retail. They got POS, they got QR codes, they've got environmental sensors. It's what we say, IoT devices, Internet of Things, this machine-to-machine discussion. Well, these machine-to-machine discussions and these POS and all of that stuff that they have inside their card readers, scanners, security, a lot of these things are wireless. So the great part about our solution is we can handle the public cellular network. We can include a private cellular network for all of their devices. We can do the public safety, and then we can do IoT over Zigbee. Our antennas actually support Zigbee also, which a lot of these IoT sensors connect to. So,
and Zigbee is what?
Zigbee is a very low power protocol that allows what we'll call like your environmental sensors, the occupancy sensors, people movement sensors, to talk over a wireless signal back to a Zigbee concentrator, and then it talks to the system, right? We're like the highway. So it's really just a different protocol. It's not cellular, it's not Wi-Fi, but it's like cellular and like Wi-Fi. It's a wireless protocol that these very low power sensors use to communicate. And so, one of the things that I love about our company is when I introduced us, remember I said we were a coverage company. I didn't say it was just cellular or just public safety. Our goal is to bring as many things as possible over the same infrastructure so that whether you're the retailer or you're the customer, we can support everything that you're trying to do inside of that facility. And, IoT, the use of machine-to-machine discussions, decision-making, AI, all of these things that are moving forward, they require data, they require information, and then once they make a decision, they got to go back out and communicate to that device. And a lot of this is happening over wireless connectivity.
It's fascinating to me. As I mentioned right before the break, I'm amazed at what I learn that ties into it's a customer experience I don't think about. And to your point, when you said you notice the absence of it, it's kind of like insurance. You pay your insurance. You hope you never need the insurance. And you could go years of making payments. And then one day you notice that you need it.
Yeah. Yeah. You want it there when you need it, right?
Right.
You definitely want it there when you need it.
Yeah. So this is fascinating. I'm not even sure. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I mean, I did my research before we came on the show to try to understand what Nextivity did, and you opened up my mind to a completely different world. Um, I get it. I mean, for public safety, obviously, being inside an elevator at 5:30 in the morning without a cell signal. By the way, I kept holding the phone up high. I kept moving around this little elevator, thinking I would actually get a signal. I finally got one. I dialed 911 and the fire department came to let me out.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now let me tell you, that fire department showed up. They had a little microphone on their vest or something, right? And they were talking about, hey, we're here at the elevator door, we're doing this. That's the public safety communications that we bring into the building also, right? So, whether it's a first responder coming in to help the occupants, whether it is a customer coming in to use their cell phone, whether it is the store who's trying to keep their POS system up, so we're up as cellular backup for them. Like, there's just so many things going on inside that building that's wireless that, we need to protect life, but also to protect our experience.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's ask the final question. Is there one last nugget of information you could share or wisdom that we should all know as we think about how to use this type of technology to create a better overall customer experience?
Yeah, my final nugget is that we need to start to remember, or people need to remember, that this is no longer a luxury to have connectivity, right? It is actually it's required. You can't just say, like you were saying, well, it's good enough or it's an okay experience. We need to give exceptional experiences to everybody, and connectivity is a huge part of that. And, we're happy here at Nextivity that we can solve so many of these issues for people. And I think that through shows like yours, Shep, that we just need to get out and let people know that there is a way to solve these problems and there's a way to bring a better experience to people. And I really appreciate you allowing us to share our message and have this conversation with you today.
Well, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate you. This is why we call it Amazing Business Radio. And we will be back next week with another amazing interview. So until that time, this is Shep Hyken reminding you, and I'll use that word again, to always be amazing.